Right, now I want to prescribe something. So I need to make sure that I'm in the inpatient RX tab, so the inpatient prescription. At the moment, I've got a blank drug chart. So what I need to do is click Add Drug. And then I need to decide, do I want to prescribe a drug, medicine, a protocol, or an infusion? So if it's an IV infusion, I would click there. If it was a protocol, I would click there. But just for standard medicines, I'm in the drugs tab, and that's where I want to be. So you can type the first few letters. So I'm searching for paracetamol, and you'll see there's a whole list of paracetamols coming up. The way that this is arranged is slightly different to prior versions of JAC. I now have the priority drugs. So these are the things you'll most likely hit, or the formulary medications will be listed at the top. These are the ones that we would prefer you to use in the first instance. Then there may also be some non-priority drugs listed below. You can still prescribe those, but we put the most likely hits at the top. I mentioned the formulary, but there is a column here that tells you whether something is on our formulary or not, to help aid with your decision making about whether this is the right thing to be prescribing or not. And of course it tells you the route as well of the thing that you're prescribing. So let's say I want to prescribe paracetamol caplets. I can click on that, and then it takes me to the prescribing screen. Now it's quite a linear process, so what it's doing, if there are any notes on the system, these will be recorded in this first tab here. For this particular medication there's no drug notes, which means you're automatically going to get a green tick, and it won't even insist that you look at it. You can still click on each of these tabs, but you're not forced to. The next tab is formulary. Again, this medication is on the formulary, so there's no red warning or anything, and it takes you straight through. There are no drug conflicts, there's no interactions or duplications on this chart. So again, the system's happy, you get a green tick. And therefore, when you open this medication, it takes you straight through to this screen, order entry. Although it's green, you still need to just check that this is what you're intending to prescribe. So I've got here 1 gram or 1,000 milligrams, which is equivalent to 2 caplets. So I'm happy with that, but I could change this up and down if I wanted to. Or you can also change it by deleting there and typing your new number. The frequency is stated here. The frequency at the moment is defaulted to 4 times a day. So we do have default frequencies and doses for the majority of medicines on here, but that doesn't mean that it's definitely what you had intended. So please make sure that you've checked this, because it's not always going to be the dose or the frequency that you want that is appropriate for your patient. With the frequency, this particular one, 4 times a day, the frequencies are mapped to a certain administration time. So 4 times a day means 8 in the morning, 1 p.m, 6 p.m, and 10 p.m. So it tells you exactly what you're clicking here. And if you do select 4 times a day, you're not going to be able to give a dose. At the moment it's 8:30. You're not going to be able to give a dose at 8:30 using this regimen. If there were more than one route option for a preparation, it would allow you to change that, but with paracetamol caplets it's only oral. And then you have the start time and the start date. And just to give some clarity, because it's 8:30, it's got that time here, but it tells you the first administration will be 1 p.m. So it's hopefully nice and clear what you're prescribing and when it will be given. If you're going to add a stop date, which we certainly would recommend you do for things like antibiotics and short courses of things, then you can use the calendar function to select a stop date and then a time as well. And then that will also confirm to you here when the last administration is. This is how you prescribe regular orders, but of course you might not want a regular order. So this drop down menu here at the top where it says regular order, if you click that, you can change it to PRN, you can change it to stat, you can have a regular and a stat order, and that would be very appropriate. For example, if with this paracetamol you want to dose now as well as 4 times a day. So you would click regular and associated stat. And there you go, there's your regular, and there's your stat dose there, and it tells you that that stat dose is going to be given now, and then this one is going to be due starting at 1 p.m. Once you're happy with everything, you can either click next or you can navigate yourself to the last tab on the flow. That one's red because it will insist that you confirm. So you need to go to this section here. And this section is almost a view of the drug chart so that it's nice and clear exactly what you're prescribing. So just to show you what this is all about. So there's my regular prescription, paracetamol 500 milligram caplets. The dose is 1,000 milligrams. It's 4 times a day. That's what I've intended. The green blob is over the 23rd, which is today's date. So this is telling me this is today's date. There's not a dose due at 8 a.m. because I've already passed that administration time. So the first dose that's going to be due is at 1 p.m. and it's listed there. And I can see that there is a 4 times a day administration. The stat dose that I've prescribed is also listed here, and you can see there's my stat dose. That's the time I intend for it to be administered. And at this point, I can either click confirm and it will prescribe it, but if you have a list of other things you also need to prescribe, you can click confirm and prescribe another. I'm just going to click confirm. Okay, so now it takes us back to the inpatient chart where we were before, and I can see that there's the doses that are now appearing on here, looking like a drug chart and listed. You can change the view of this from this view across to what would be a traditional previous JAC version where it's just got things listed. So if you've got a lot of things on your chart, you might choose to just have the list, but you can also have it the full view that looks like a drug chart with a line down to show you where we are during the day, and that will move across as the day goes on.